Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the honor that you pay me in inviting me to reflect upon present conditions in Jamaica, to touch the throbbing heart of nationalism, the good remembrances that many of us have this evening. I've entitled this The Agony of Change, Prospects of New Beginning in Middle-Aged Jamaica. A mere 20 months from now, a midlife crisis will catch up with us, we who are the independence generation of Jamaicans, we who were present at some age and in some stage when the black, green, and gold was unfurled at the National Stadium and the Union Jack was lowered. We are situated in the armpit of the Americas. We are a people full of aspirations, a large sense of entitlement, too close to Miami for our own pockets, yet claiming and using almost unbridled freedom of expression. Jamaica is one of the freest countries that you can think of. The statistics of decline in just one arena of national endeavor, that of secondary education outcomes, is what I will use this evening to begin, to serve as a prism through which to glimpse the general state of our society. Education is universally accepted as the ladder for personal upward mobility, for international competitiveness and national growth. So hear the story now. Last June, some 56,000 young people supposedly completed secondary school. Only about 2/3 of that 56,000 entered for end of school exams anyway. And of those who entered, only about 20% matriculated successfully. Another 6% got some subjects, but fell below the standard of matriculation for any tertiary or vocational institution. The remainder, estimated at about 70% of the entire cohort, filled with need and anticipation, and after the investment of several $1 million of public and private money on each of those young people, they leave the school system in cap and gown, to be sure, but reading and computing 4 or 5 grades below the expected standards. This is the situation of the outcomes of the high schools generally in Jamaica, and I can vouch for them particularly in the area of Central Kingston, where I represent. Part of the agony of change in Jamaica is the indispensable and unpostponable necessity to wrench much better results from our schools while using the same resources we have now. And how will that be possible? It will be agony, to be sure, because it will require many painful steps, such as the rebalancing of the allocation of funds towards early childhood education and away from tertiary subsidy. This is not an original proposal of mine. It was put forward, I believe, must have been hinted at, if not stated fully, by the Most Honorable Edward Siaga at the CIN lecture many years ago when he came, and he has made this a mantra of his retirement. The support for this rebalancing of the education dollar crosses political party lines. Some of you may wonder why a person who is a member of an opposing party should so support the ideas of another political party. Well, in fact, that is a logical and sensible thing to do, isn't it? Yes? Thank you. One hand can't clap when it comes to these vital issues. But that is not all. Longer contact hours, less vacation and other leave will be required of our teachers, as well as performance-based contracts. Just as Cuba and Barbados broke the back of chronic illiteracy in the 1960s, so must Jamaica broaden its objective of eliminating school-based illiteracy by 2015 and extend this to a wider scope of drastically reducing overall illiteracy by that time. We lost our nerve with Jamal in the political maelstrom of 1976. At that time, we understandably, but regretfully, shifted gear to what was called free education. And we used up the entire sum of the bauxite levy, dollar for dollar, in order to try and achieve this. But we were able to sustain neither program as we seduced ourselves into a useless pseudo-ideological conflict in the final years of that decade. No child must be promoted to a higher grade unless he or she has mastered the content of the previous class. This is presently the case of about 40 to 50% of the present grade 4 cohort. Somewhere around 400,000 new or renewed school places will be needed in the medium term to defeat the shift system, another good idea that went awry, and to reduce class size to levels which will allow the schools to better cope with the social deficits which affect so many of our students. Now, even assuming that successive Jamaican governments do the sensible thing and commit the state to making education the absolute priority, these targets will be beyond the reach of the capital budget of the nation for at least 2 generations. 2 generations. So the churches and the trusts who pioneered education in the 19th and 20th centuries must be encouraged to let down their buckets in the old wells, to establish and expand denominational schools to which the government can assign voucher-carrying students, whereby they would prescribe and monitor quality, but not incur capital costs. Each year, people like your good self, members of the diaspora community, recommit themselves to their former primary and secondary schools with generous contributions and instances of mentoring. Several of you in the pre-lecture conversations have expressed your desire to do this. Many such initiatives need better organizing, but let me tell you, the prospects and benefits are limitless.
And now, Stephen Hill, CEO of the Caribbean International Network.
I think you were, this afternoon, awarded with the most brilliant of all the 6 CIN lecture presentations. More often than not, they're all brilliant. But tonight, you heard the brilliance of Ronnie Thwaites, his analysis of problems, solutions, and not just words. Ronnie and myself started at St. George's College 1955. Short khaki pants. In fact, I said to my secretary before I came up here, I wonder if I could get Mr. Thwaites and myself to wear khaki outfit tonight. And her reply was, Mr. Hill, not with your skinny legs. Not a chance. We graduated in the class of 59, and Ken Scott was also one of the graduates. And when you think that the graduating class of 1959 not only had Ronnie Thwaites as a Rhodes Scholar, but also had Trevor Monroe, another Rhodes Scholar, and the Jamaica Scholar also. So we had 2 Rhodes Scholars and 1 Jamaica Scholar. Probably the most outstanding graduating class ever in Jamaica, and probably measured anywhere, probably as good as the USA or Europe or Russia. Brilliant. Now, what happened? Ronnie went into politics was it 1997, was elected. Trevor Monroe, my also good friend, and Ronald, all of us went through the 8 classes. He was appointed a senator by the PNP. And what happened? Neither of them held a position of responsibility. Can you imagine that? Brilliant minds, and nobody was put in a position of leadership.